Hey, Nicole Roberts Jones here, and welcome to another episode of the Meaningful Work Podcast. I'm always excited to be here, but today you better grab your pen, grab a piece of paper, only if you're ready to advance your career. So, we're going to talk about branding. And I think, first of all, let me ask you, do you realize that you are a brand? It's not just Nike or American Express or all the things that you might have and own. Those are brands too, but you are a brand as well. And so that is why I'm excited about our conversation today and really how understanding the fundamentals of having a personal brand really is a key to your advancement in your career. And who can share about this the most? Well, the woman that is an expert in personal branding, and her name is Melissa Dawn Simkins. Now, Melissa is a modern architect of leadership transformation and founder of Velvet Suite, an Inc. 5,000 ed tech company recognized for her unique approach to merging elite athletic discipline with executive leadership to foster purpose-driven performance. As a sought after strategist and speaker, she partners with C suite leaders and high performing teams to redefine success from within. Pioneering the concept of personal branding as essential to leadership, Melissa's influence extends across Fortune 500 boardrooms and global leadership forums. She is the visionary behind the MVP Accelerator, the Beyond the C Suite newsletter, and the soon to be launched C Suite Confidential podcast, offering insights for executives facing transition and growth. A dedicated mom, wife, and confidant, Melissa specializes in creating supportive spaces for high achievers who see clarity and fulfillment amongst their success. So, help me welcome Melissa to the podcast. Hey.
Hey, oh my goodness, the energy is so good. I love it. Thank you for having
Probably
me.
with you, I got excited to see you on the screen before we started. And so, I know this is going to be such a great conversation because I think what I know for sure, so many people don't even realize that they themselves are a brand. So
Mm,
let's talk a little bit about why understanding that you are a brand and having personal branding is really the key to success. Tell us a little bit about that from your viewpoint.
First off, thanks you for having me. This is it's wonderful to see you in action and to watch you glow. You're glowing, by the way. Um, I believe everyone has a mark. God brought us here, and there's billions of people in the world, but only one have the same mark, thumbprint as you. So it's like we come in original and we die as copycats. And so we don't understand that everything, our strengths, our weaknesses, our insecurities, the hard places, the high places, like listening to a bio is great because it's like all the high places. But really my brand was made in secret places. It was made in dark places where I had to really push through, and that building of that muscle, building of that endurance is what begins to create this mark, and that is what becomes so distinct and unique. And I can talk about it in a very articulate and clear way, but I've had to live my way into this, Nicole, right? And that's why it's my passion, because it has truly transformed my life. Having this awareness coming from being a very insecure child and not someone who felt good in my skin, to being in a place where I have pushed past those comfort zones to really make my mark, and with the motivation of how do I empower other people to do the same. So there's a lot we can unpack on branding, but I will leave it there for now.
So good, so good. And here's the thing that, and by the way, if you see me writing, I'm taking notes too, because I learned too. We come as originals and die as copycats. So good. And listen, I often say this, and those of you that listen to this podcast all the time, you've heard me say this. If I'm copying somebody else, then one of us isn't necessary. Why do we need two people doing the exact same thing? What's
Mhm.
the point?
Yes,
Right? And
yes,
so,
yes.
yes, success leaves clues, but if it's not in alignment with how God crafted and created you, you have no business trying to do it or be it. So good.
Oh, no.
So,
And I will tell you, it also, Nicole, it
mhm,
accelerates. Having been an entrepreneur in corporate America, having now been an entrepreneur for almost 20 years, and now serving the same people that I worked with and now that are CEOs and other leaders, I see so much of this. Everything is cyclical.
mm,
Everything is cyclical. And if we can really tap into the fact that we can create our mark, and if we do it along our journey, it will accelerate the speed that we can accomplish what we define as success. Because I think everybody has their own definition of success.
yeah. So good, so good. And by the way, we should be defining our own success, not our mom, our sister, our cousin, the person that lives next door. We have the pen. So we should be writing our own definition of success. So good. So what do you think are some key elements to a strong personal brand?
Yes, I have a formula, and it's
Ooh,
the formula that I've used to launch into what I've done.
of
And
course she has a formula because you are the goddess of personal branding. Of course you have a
well,
formula.
I have my method. I have my method and I have my experience, and it's what I coach people, leaders around the world. But I call it ID3. So it's identity, image, and influence. It's identity, which is that thumbprint. It's the invisible that makes you untouchable. Many
Oh,
of
wait a
us
minute. Wait a minute, girl. You dropping it because you got to say that again. You can't just say that and keep going. Say that
It's
again.
the invisible that makes you untouchable.
Hmm.
It's so counter to culture because everything we are told and sold and we see is like, if you do it like this is the way. Social media has like amplified that by how many billions, right? So we are always walking around thinking it's what's outside that makes us how we wear, what we look like. Black women, I mean, we know how to style, we know how to give it to you, we know how to look the part, but we oftentimes are mimicking versus modeling who we really are. And the modeling comes from what is invisible is what makes me and untouchable. And so that's pillar one, but it's the most foundational part.
That's so good.
It is so like it is the secret sauce, and most people miss it because
Mm.
the next pillar is image. So we can master that. What people see. But I say image is more of when you do it masterfully, it's just a mirror that reflects out what's inside. So if you've done the inside work, you're just reflecting that out versus mimicking the model of what everyone else is doing.
Mm.
And then the third pillar is influence. So it's what's being said when you're not in the room. So that's how you're able to grow your visibility, your value, your impact when you're not in the room and people are asking for you. Brands are about value. At the end of the day, if I had a $50 bill and I had a piece of paper, fundamentally they're the same thing, Nicole, but it's perception of value, right? Money we kill for, we work day and night for, that's the difference. So how do you create that value? Ultimately, brands are just about a mark of value.
Yeah.
The branding tradition actually started in ancient times when craftsmen would make pieces of let's call it a jar or clay, and they would mold it and they would mold it. How do they make it unique to them? Is they would put their thumbprint in it, and that's how it started. And then it moved to cattle and on. So the evolution of branding was about distinction. It was
Mm.
about being it connected to the creator, so that that creator could say, "This is worth much more than that," like you said, right? Because I made it. And if we could tie back to that, it's powerful. It's very powerful.
So good. And as you were talking, what just dropped in my spirit is because you say, how do we connect back to the creator? And
Yeah.
at the beginning, you talked about a fingerprint, right? And I often call it DNA, distinct natural ability. Those of you who've been listening, you've heard me say this. And what's interesting is I did a study on DNA years ago when I first got this whole thing of distinct natural ability. I'm like, well, let me make sure I understand DNA, right? And what's interesting is we each have 2.4 billion cells in us, or maybe 4.2 billion, whichever one is a lot, right?
Yeah. A lot.
and but no two of us have the same molecular makeup. So it's
Mhm.
like God was very intentional when he created you. He
Yeah.
gave you a specific talent. He gave you specific skills. He gave you a distinct look. He gave you all these things. And
Mhm.
the branding is all of what are you doing with what God gave you? How are
That's
you using the uniqueness? And then here's the other part that dropped in my spirit. Now that I said that, we each are also little reflections of God. Not one of us is all of who God is, but all of
Mhm.
us have a piece
Mhm.
of Him or
Mhm.
her in
Mhm.
us. And
Mhm.
it's really, really important that we honor the distinction that we've been given.
Yes. Why? And I often think about why don't we?
Woo!
You know, I look at myself. I'm like, why didn't I? Because I thought it wasn't enough.
Yes.
I thought it wasn't good enough. It didn't look good enough. It didn't sound good enough. I mean, I'm a speaker, but the reason I became a speaker is because I was so when I was young, I did not like I was so insecure. I remember Nicole being in first grade. My son is in second grade and being called to read publicly in my little reading circle, and I froze. I could not. And the fact that I'm actually doing what I'm doing now is amazing, but it is because my mother pushed me and said, if you're going to know nothing else, you're going to learn how to speak in public. And you saw me like that. You saw what I did when
Mhm.
we met for the first
At her
time.
phenomenal conference, yes.
point of it is I didn't think I was worthy. I didn't think I was good enough.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you say, why don't we, is because of that level of insecurity and what we've been told or what we've been sold. Right. That to me is
That's
why.
so good. Listen, she's so the queen of branding. What we've been told or what we've been sold. She's dropping all kind of nuggets. You know, the thing that's interesting that we have in common is I'm actually shy. Nobody believes me. But
Ah,
I started a program at my church, and I'm sharing this in the same way Melissa's sharing her stories because
yeah.
this hopefully will bless you guys. So, listen, I started a program at my church back in the 90s. I'm from LA. This is right after the LA riots. I wanted to help African American girls to really give them the space to navigate their path like someone had given to me. My YMCA summer camp counselor when I was 12 showed me what was possible. So I'm saying that because what I would do was I would train them to do all the things in church to make the announcements, and I called it leadership development. No, I'm shy and I ain't trying to make the announcement in church. Oh, by the way, this church was 18,000 members. Okay.
Okay.
And so I remember this day like it was yesterday, Melissa. So the way my church will work is on Sunday or on Tuesday before Sunday, you submit your whatever you were going to read in church for a pastor to approve it. So this particular week, pastor's assistant called me back and said, Pastor actually wants to read it. I said, he wants to read it himself? Okay, Pastor. And she said, he just says, bring it up to the pulpit, during service on Sunday. Okay. So this Sunday, I put on my cutest outfit. I'll keep it real, y'all. Put on my cutest outfit because I'm going in the pulpit. So when I get to the pulpit, Pastor pulls my hand to come into the pulpit. I'm like, okay. So now I'm sitting in the pulpit, waving to my friends, hey, girl, right? And all the time I'm trying to hand Pastor this piece of paper and he's not taking it. Now I'm clueless on what's going to happen next. So right before announcements, we all stand up and sing Spirit of the Living God. I'm singing. I'm still trying to pass Pastor the paper. He's not ignoring me now. As soon as it's time for announcements, he pushes me in front of the microphone. Now I'm gonna tell you, I was shaking so hard, I couldn't read the paper. I had to put it down. I
Yeah.
don't know if my words even went together. I don't even know if I made any sense.
Mhm.
I said what I was supposed to say, and I walked while I was hoping I wasn't gonna fall because my knees were shaking so hard. I'm gonna
Mhm.
tell you, I was so pissed, Melissa, that I couldn't wait to give Pastor a piece of my mind. Keeping it real,
Mhm.
y'all. So at the
Mhm.
end of service, Pastor said this. He said, you are shy and you're humble and you will never come forward, but God is calling you forward. And I'm
Mhm.
sharing that because oftentimes someone tells us you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. This was me. I wasn't black enough. I can go on and on about all the things that I wasn't enough to you begin to believe those things.
Oh
And then
yeah,
it limits who you are.
absolutely.
And in that moment, when Pastor did that, and by the way, he was my mentor, he just passed last year, 2024. And literally, he poured things into me and began to teach me and train me in ways. And I'm sharing that with you because if you take one step,
Mhm.
so can I tell you, after that, I started getting calls to speak different churches. I was like, really, Lord? Mind you, every time I speak, I'm still nervous. Never
Mhm.
a time I'm not nervous.
Yeah.
But it's not about me.
Mhm.
And it's also how God is using my personal brand, just like God is using yours. Because I'm gonna tell y'all, 900 people at our conference from all over the world. It was phenomenal.
Mhm. Thank you. Yeah. And
So,
also, I will also tell you the thing that I have learned. And I have a course that's called the Brand Leadership Institute, and we sell B2B, so we don't do B2C. But in that course, I wrote it after going through my own journey of trying to figure out my why.
mm,
One of the things that you said that I think is so important to that I had to sit down with myself, and I coach people to do the same thing now, is what is my limitation, and then what is my destination, and what is my motivation.
mm,
And I really began to step back and say, God, if I am to be a mirror of you, my motivation has to be bigger than me. Because a lot
mm,
of times we feel like, I don't want it to be about me. Like women who do that too. I don't want it to be about me.
yeah.
Or sometimes we want it to be all about us, right? Right.
Right,
Let's be honest. We want it to just be all about is the show, is the me show.
right.
But when we really get clear on a motivation that is bigger than us, it really frees you from the outcome.
Yeah.
It frees you from the outcome and it allows you to come into spaces where people really know she's not just about herself, right?
Mm.
And when you think about that conference you experienced, you know, it is definitely I benefit from it, but it is definitely my motivation is that I want to give people what has changed my life, you know.
And your ability to pour, because that's really what you're doing. You're thinking about everybody else when you're creating a big space like that and inviting other speakers and creating the agenda. And I can go on and on and on. It's not about you. And yet it's building your personal brand. And you're not trying to. right?
Mhm.
That's not your focus. And yet, when you're doing the thing that you're crafted and created to do, that's what happens.
It's a part of the outcome. And when you're not, you got to ask the other question. Like, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing?
Mm, so
And
good.
that's the hard part.
So good. So, by the way, if you are a business leader and you know your business needs this Brand Leadership Institute, I'm taking notes, y'all. You see me looking at my notes. So we'll tell you at the end how you can reach out to Melissa and her team if you want to bring that to your corporation, your organization. So you've worked with some pretty high profile clients. You heard me say athletes. She's worked with C-suite and corporations and organizations. What do you believe are some common branding challenges, or not believe? What have you seen are some common branding challenges that people face?
So I am called to the high performer, right? And there is a commonality, whether you're an executive, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a celebrity or an entertainer, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whether you're an entrepreneur. I mean, it's not by title, but it's by like ambition. And it's that rising up that I believe there's more in me. We all have that overcoming story. We talked a little bit about it before. I think some of the commonalities is that we often become defined by our performance because we're good.
Hmm.
Like, and
Hmm.
because you're good, good begets attention, good begets recognition, and we start to wear our title like a trophy, right? And so I walked through that leaving corporate America. I worked for a great company, a very well-known brand. And it was like in the city I was in, it was like I had people were mourning my loss because I left the company. And it was like, well, I didn't know how to introduce myself because that, whether I honestly owned it, was how I got in the door. It's how I felt like people would listen to my voice. So when you strip that away, I work with NFL players. When there's NFL often stands for not for long. When the game is done,
Right.
well, who are you? And does your value diminish, right? Celebrities, it's 15 minutes of fame and then what? So the commonality of having a platform of influence, whether it's your company, whether it's in your home, and all of a sudden change happens and you got to redefine who you are and you got to deal with how people perceive you are. All of that is very common
Hmm.
for all of us, right? And so it becomes the identity crisis that we deal with.
Oh, that's so good. And as you're talking, two things are popping in my mind. I love the not for long, by the way. And I was talking to somebody in the NFL organization. Let me say it like that. I'm not going to say people's titles.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, coming into to talk to some of these particular athletes, and he's a female athlete, so it's not NFL, just a hint, right? But I'm still not going to say, right?
Mhm.
But again, not having a plan B, and not even that you have to have a plan B in place, but when you look at the impact, because you're making an impact when you're some kind of athlete, actor,
Mhm.
entertainer, you're still making an impact. When that impact shifts, what's a new way to do it? But when you don't realize the impact you're making and you just are focused on that one thing, that's what gets you stuck.
Yes, yes. One of
And
the things that just reminds me of that. So one of our clients when I first started was Common, and we did
mm,
a branding board for Common. And one of the things that I remember we did was um, the courage to change while remaining the same.
mm,
And this idea is that, right? It's like, how do I evolve, but still stay true to who
mm,
I really am? And I literally, as I was getting dressed this morning, I thought about you, Nicole. I thought about this show and I thought about why change is hard. And change is actually a sign of maturity, right? Because the only way things mature, we know this as maturing women, is our age.
yeah,
And kids are, so the maturing process is something that is really a positive, but it's hard because it causes you to calling you to grow up. Like it's calling you to grow up. Like,
yeah,
yeah, that was great then, but grow up. Where are you now? And it's like, oh, I don't want to grow up. I want to stay
right.
where that was where it was fun. Everybody knew my name. I felt good. I felt comfortable. So that change is
Yeah.
hard.
It's like being in the 12th grade with the kindergarten mentality. Sure, elementary school was fun. You have friends, your teachers, all the things. But you can't be that person in the 12th grade and think you're going to get the result you want. You're going to get a kindergarten result, which is not what you want.
That's right. You
And
got to.
even as you're saying that, another example, and I always listen, I always share examples and stories, and I love that you do this too because it makes it plain for you all that are listening. So I
Yeah.
had the privilege to work with Steve Harvey. This was years ago. This was when he wrote Act Like a Success. If you guys remember, this was after Think Like a Man, this is Act Like a Success. And I was talking to business people. And he had in his mind that he couldn't coach business people. And what's interesting is he had written this whole book about this new viewpoint, but yet he couldn't even stand it in that moment because he felt like people were going to judge him. And I never forget this. And I was on the team that helped him develop his program for Act Like a Success. And he had a conference and all the things.
Remember
And I
that.
remember this moment like it was yesterday. This is the truth. And I hope, Mr. Harvey, wherever you are, you don't mind me telling this story, but I'm telling it already. So I'm going to act like you gave me permission. So he was getting ready for the first time go on stage to tell his story. And I love that you also are big on stories. And the reason this was hard for him is because now he is successful. And I'm like, you need to tell people that you lived in a car. You need to talk about and let people, because you're up here. A lot of people think they can't touch what you do, who you are. But when you talk about you being here, you pull up every person that doesn't feel like they can resonate with you. One.
Mhm. Mhm.
Second, he was like, but I don't know if I could do this. I said, so with all due respect, you know how to find the funny, right? And he said, yes. I said, well, trust God, use that same gift and find a breakthrough. You'll
Mhm.
get it. You'll know it right when you get on stage. You'll
Yes.
know exactly what to hit and when to hit it. And he looked at me like, and I walked away. And I'm saying that because literally he didn't trust himself. But when he went on stage and that was Essence Fest, he told his story for the first time.
Mhm.
And y'all know how we as Black women can be. I'm just keeping it real, right? And I
Mhm.
think that was what was making him nervous. He got a, a roaring ovation
Yes. Yes. We
because
all
he
have
was willing to be
insecurities.
transparent.
We all
Hmm.
have insecurities, no
Hmm.
matter what it looks like on the outside, right? And so that notion of owning our brand and just getting what I say, get comfortable being uncomfortable, pushing
Yeah.
yourself out of that place. I had to have that conversation with myself 2 days ago. I was like, Melissa, this is what you got. I'm like, but I don't like it. I don't like it. And
Right.
nobody
Right.
does.
Look, and I'm
So,
in the middle of it right now. The only reason I'm not going to
yeah,
tell stories because I'm in the middle of it and I'm not, I'm not done yet. So I can't tell a full
yeah,
story.
yeah.
But here's what I know happens. Like, Mr. Harvey, the reason I told the story is he had been a comedian. Now he's looking to transform and he was scared. But
Yeah.
what he's doing is use your gift as a comedian and just take that to another level.
Yeah.
Here I am. I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years and I feel like God, part of this podcast, God is saying, okay, I don't want you to just work with entrepreneurs. I need you to expand and work with everyone and be more career development focused. Okay,
Yeah.
Lord, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so again, it's not letting go of who you were. That's coming too. What's the Bible verse say? All things work together for the good. Not some
Yes.
things, not a few things, all things,
Yeah.
right?
And you
Even
bring your story with you. You know,
yes.
I where I'm headed in this next chapter is really around our founding story of sports and that passion. Athleticism saved my life
Mm,
in so many ways because I really had to get the mindset that I am resilient. I can continue to go forward. Whether it was a health issue, whether it was a family issue, whether it was a death issue, we all have had life stories, but that
yeah.
has been what has kept me going.
Yeah.
And I have identified with that identity to see myself doing extraordinary things, right? And so where our journey is going as a company is bringing that back full circle and helping people bring those insights around agility, around well-being, around resilience, and putting that into a formula that they can be a new type of leader, a new league of leaders. So again, it's an evolution of a brand. It's a story that continues. Every great brand is built on a story, and every chapter is a different chapter, but it's all part of one book.
Yes.
So that's what we need to think about our lives. Like, when is this chapter closing? And it's not that you have to say it never happened, but we're building the next chapter and we're building off of the story. That's what branding is too, the evolving of a story. And
Yeah.
so, yes, I will just leave it there. I think that is an opportunity that we have to embrace. When we see it that way, we won't feel so hard about goodbyes. We'll see them differently.
So good. And I love it. New league of leadership, right?
Yes.
New league. And thinking about, we don't live life on one level. I just said it a little while ago. We don't take our kindergarten mentality into high school.
So
So
there's a
our
chapter
lives,
called kindergarten. There was a
right.
chapter. It did happen, right?
And we have to let that go to be in the first grade, the second, the third, and keep going, right?
Right,
So our
right.
life is meant to be lived on levels. And I think so many people find it hard when they're comfortable in the level they're in. And God is saying, okay, this is great. I got more for you.
Yes, yes. And there's a letting go that has to happen.
So
And there's
good.
also, Nicole, a reskilling, like a new tool
Mm,
that you got to build, right? And sometimes we don't want to go back to school, but everything, there's opportunity to get schooled on a lot of things that will help us. Even the failure, right? What was the lesson? Because
yeah.
that's the tool that I didn't know I needed for this next chapter. But I'm so fixated on the loss. I'm so fixated on that it was broken. It didn't go like I thought. Wait a minute. What's the gift?
Mm,
That is actually what you need to turn the page to get to this next chapter. You need that. You can't go because you will be ill prepared. I remember, if I can tell a story really quickly, I
yeah.
remember being in corporate and having done all of this work and built a reputation, built an internal brand for those of people who work within a company. So much so that I was recognized by the CEO and I was able to name my next brand position. And I had a compadre in this work who worked on the outside of the company. And she and I did the work, but she really was following my lead.
Mm,
And we were getting recognized internal, our project. I was getting promoted and she was getting recognized in her company. She had the guts to start her business.
mm,
I didn't.
mm,
So I go to my next job and I take her with me. And guess what? I sell $1 million project. And her first job, she gets $1 million contract from me.
mm.
Right.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And I realized, wow, I didn't believe in myself, but I didn't stay there in that place. I'm like, what's the lesson in this? The lesson in this is you can do this just like she did it. And actually, it was a lot of your work that made that happen. Now, what are you going to do with it? And that became the fire to cause me to leave my job. And I left my job 3 months before I was vested, right?
Mm,
Because I needed the fire to take the step because I still was too scared.
mm,
I still didn't believe in myself enough. And so, had I not got that fire set me up for the first years of business, which did not go how I thought. But I had a fire that says, you got this. And you saw yourself do hard things, right? So the illustration here is we've got to believe in ourselves and we got to recognize that the loss is just the lesson. And sometimes we get it confused. We're just stuck in the loss, but it's a lesson.
yeah. Yeah. So good. And I love that you said, I need the fire to take the next step. So
Yeah.
sometimes we stay stuck in the fire, though. We never take the next step. And if you stay stuck in the fire, what happens? You get burned up. Hello.
Mhm.
Right. But the fire is meant to push you out and push you into it and push you to grow into your next.
Yeah. It's temporary. Do not make a permanent decision from a temporary position. It's just temporary,
Yeah.
but get the lesson and get out.
Hello. So good. So good. Listen, you've given us so many nuggets. I got a page of notes. How about y'all?
Oh,
So, as we wrap this episode, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you'd like to share with the folks that are listening?
I would just say step into greatness. I think with me, her name was Velvet, and I thought that was a cool name, but it was really bigger than that. It was about Velvet being timeless and being luxurious and being this elite fabric that has led generations. And I mean, it's still around, right?
Mm,
And Sweet being around this leadership. And I believe elite leadership should be accessible, but people don't understand that they can come to that elite level.
mm,
There is the inner work that I talk about. That's why our tagline is win from within, where purpose meets performance. If you can really work this inner work, it makes you untouchable. It makes you at that elite status. Only 10% of the population will actually complete a goal. NFL players, only 16% of college athletes actually go on, and less than 1% become at that elite level. I
mm.
want to make elite access accessible. But
Yeah.
this is the formula. This is the playbook. This is the work that has to be done. So just keep going. Do not settle. Be great. That's
So
my message.
good. So if folks want to find you, Melissa, so good. All this has been so good. I can keep talking, but got to end, right?
Yeah,
Where do
I would
where do
say
folks go to
uh,
find you?
Social is great. So Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn because I do a lot with the professional side. And then Velvet Suite is our parent company. And I have a new personal website that's evolving. We just did the first landing page. It's Melissa Dawn Simkins, no P, Simkins.
Yay. So I'll put that in the show notes as well. So Melissa, thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for meeting me 5 minutes ago, and yet I feel like we've been knowing each other forever.
And we're neighbors.
Right, and we are neighbors. Funny enough. So thank you for all you do, and thank you for joining us today. I appreciate
It's been wonderful. You're a wonderful host. Thank you for having me.
So y'all, you know how I end. Number one, share your greatest takeaway. I got page of notes. I know you do too. So share your greatest takeaway. Whether you come, if you're watching YouTube, great, share the notes here, or come on over to social media and share the thing that you will use and move forward to grow your own personal brand. So that's number one. Number two, I'm always going to ask you to share. I'm asking you to share, not because I'm trying to grow my reach. Well, I am trying to grow my reach too, but really because you never know who in your network needs the insight that Melissa shared in this episode. All right. So with that, thank you again for joining us for this episode, and I look forward to seeing you for our next. Have a good one, y'all.